Under your leadership, the prosecution of firearms offenses have increased 23% over the same period of the previous year. Furthermore, the number of defendants charged with using a firearm in violent crimes of drug trafficking rose 10% over the previous year. We have a slide which shows the increase as compared to the Obama-era numbers. What do these increased prosecutions of firearms offenses indicate about the Department of Justice's commitment to fighting violent crime, particularly with the use of firearms, in this country?
Mr. Chairman, as a former federal prosecutor who emphasized gun prosecutions, I've long believed that they have a significant impact in reducing violent crime. Professors earlier this year have explained that they share that view based on scientific analysis. It will be a high priority of ours. You are correct that prosecutions fell. One incident that was raised during the Texas terrific, horrible shooting at the church there in Sutherland, Texas, was the ability of an individual to get a firearm and whether or not they filed correctly their form before you get one. It requires questions about criminal convictions and court-martials. Those prosecutions, I've noticed, have dropped by over 50% in the last 3 or 4 years. I think those are worthy prosecutions. And when a criminal is carrying a gun during a criminal act of some other kind, that is a clear and present danger to the public, and those cases are important in the impact reduction of crime.
As you're aware, I and a majority of the members of this committee have on multiple occasions requested a special counsel to investigate former Secretary Hillary Clinton's mishandling of classified information and the actions of former Attorney General Lynch with respect to former FBI Director Comey's decision not to prosecute former Secretary Clinton. I'm in receipt of the department's letter from yesterday stating that senior federal prosecutors will review our letters and make recommendations as to whether any matters not currently under investigation should be opened, require further resources, or merit the appointment of a special counsel. Do I have your assurance that these matters will proceed fairly and expeditiously?
Yes, you can, Mr. Chairman, and you can be sure that they will be done without political influence, and they will be done correctly and properly.
You also reference an ongoing Inspector General investigation into many of the matters we have raised. Will you ensure that the IG briefs this committee on his findings in closed session if necessary?
I will do my best to comply with that. The Inspector General is able to announce investigations in a way that we do not on the normal criminal side of the Department of Justice, and I assume he would be able to do that.
Over the past year, we have seen numerous apparent disclosures of unmasked names of U.S. citizens in the context of intelligence reports. Which crimes are violated when these unmasked names are disclosed? For example, to the press. How does the Department of Justice investigate such unauthorized disclosures?
Mr. Chairman, that could implicate a number of legal prohibitions. It could be clearly a release of classified information contrary to law, and it's a very grave offense and certainly goes against the core policies of this government to protect those matters from disclosure. And the second part of your question was?
How the department investigates such unauthorized.
We have members of the committee. We had about 9 open investigations of classified leaks in the last 3 years. We have 27 investigations open today. We intend to get to the bottom of these leaks. I think it has reached epidemic proportions. It cannot be allowed to continue, and we will do our best effort to ensure that it does not continue.
And on April 11, you issued a memorandum to all federal prosecutors requesting that they make prosecution of certain immigration offenses a higher priority. To your knowledge, have the number of federal prosecutions increased nationwide for offenses such as harboring aliens, improper entry, and illegal reentry?
I do not have the statistics on that, but I believe there has been some increases in those cases. One thing we've seen is a reduction of attempts to enter the country illegally, and that is good news and should result in some decline in some prosecutions.
And finally, as you know, this committee did a great deal of work to enact criminal justice reform legislation last Congress. Will you continue to work in good faith with me and the members of this committee on both sides of the aisle to identify and craft responsible reforms?
I certainly will, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, General Sessions. I now recognize